Now, the Centre for Teaching and Learning at the University of the Free State has conducted studies on students in South Africa's public universities. This is to help in understanding and developing better environments across our universities for new entrants. The Centre's head, Professor Francois Strydom, worked alongside CEO of University South Africa, Dr. Pethu Matutu, on the studies. Professor Strydom joins us now live to unpack this further. Prof, thank you very much for your time here on eNCA. Just firstly, a lot of people would say that South African students feel entitlement, especially after the Fees Must Fall protest, with people asking for what they were promised, by the way, by the governing party when they came in, which is free and equal and quality higher education, right? But is it fair to describe these young people as people who are, for instance, entitled?
Well, I don't. Thank you very much, Masego, for the opportunity for being here with you and to share the perspectives that we've gained through our student engagement research in collaboration with University of South Africa. I don't think that is a particularly helpful way to view students as entitled. Our work is focused on understanding our students so that we can create even better supporting environments for them to thrive and to succeed.
And Prof, I wonder what you would suggest in this report that the students need, especially first-year students who feel very positive. They just finished with their matric results, and obviously higher education to them means economic emancipation at some point and finding jobs. Do you find any optimism or skepticism rather from these particular students?
Well, I think in the work what we've done, the student engagement work looks at two perspectives. On the one hand, what do students need to do to succeed? And on the other hand, what do universities need to do to support students to succeed? And I'm happy to say that through this work, South African public higher education institutions are part of a global community that strives to help students transition and to be successful. I think there's different things universities are doing to support these students to succeed, but there's also things students can do. So I'm not filled with, I'm more optimistic in terms of how what we learn about our students and what they need to do, and also what our institution.
Prof, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here with you.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly, Prof. So, for me, I remember during first year, what was shocking for me was the fact that I don't have a teacher who is following me around to see if I'm going to meet my deadline for an assignment or if I'm studying, etc. It's very different. It's a very different environment from school. You're certainly much more independent, and it's a good way of teaching you that. So in terms of, the first assessments of these particular students, especially first year, I can imagine how, the first tests, etc., are very important. Otherwise, that can be enough to actually make you feel like you're not supposed to be there, right? So what support do those students need who are so used to, getting the support from their teachers, and suddenly they don't get that when they get to varsity?
So maybe to answer that, I can share sort of two perspectives with you. So the first one, if we look at what universities have in place, the majority of universities in the country have what we refer to as first-year experience programs. Now, almost all universities have a first-year orientation. That's usually a week. But some universities that we work with have extended that over a year. And what those programs do is they help you understand what university is, how it works, the skills you need to succeed, and very importantly, where you can find support. The next thing that universities do is they provide academic advice. We lead a national work on enhancing academic advice. So that is people at university who help you with your subjects. They help you in success coaching to adapt your study skills, and also understand what you need. But also then they help you to align your education and career plan. And thirdly, then there's tutorials, Masego. These tutorials create spaces where students feel safer. Sometimes it's part of the course, or sometimes universities deploy these tutorials to create an environment, especially in challenging subjects, where students can learn from each other. So that's sort of three things that universities do. There are, of course, specific things that students need to understand when they come to universities as first years. And the first thing, linking to your comment around first tests and so on, is to expect to be challenged to grow. From our research, we know that our South African students, like their global counterparts, tend to overestimate how prepared they are and underestimate how challenging university is going to be. So it's important to understand that because university is a challenging place, it's okay if your marks change. From our work, we know, coming back to whether we should be pessimistic or optimistic about our students, we know that our students say, I want to work hard. But then what happens to them, as you said in the first assessment, that doesn't go as they expected. They tend to lose confidence. And I think there it's important for them to understand university is there to stretch you so you can develop your skills and abilities. But then secondly, it's extremely important to look and ask for help. And this comes back to the first year orientation experience information. The majority of our universities have developed, that we work with, have developed many support systems for students. But our challenge is students are shy. Many of them are first in their family to be at university. But the first thing you can do is to ask your peers, how do I approach this subject? But even better than that, you can ask a tutor, an advisor, a lecturer, a support staff member. They want you to succeed. And then finally, the third thing, and there I want to link up with my esteemed colleague, Dr. Matutu, the CEO of University South Africa, is perseverance and hard work does lead to success. I agree with Dr. Matutu that as a student, you have to have a serious mindset and you have to be disciplined. But what we know through our research is that those students who see university as an opportunity to grow and put in the hard work and persevere despite some disappointments are the ones who succeed.
And Prof, just lastly and very quickly, how do you support or deal with students who, for instance, are from disadvantaged backgrounds? They are not used to the big buildings of universities, etc. And also probably there are some brilliant students that we have in South Africa. We have 11 official languages in this country. And in some cases, these students were not necessarily learning with the medium of instruction that they would find at university, whether it be English or Afrikaans. And they get there and they struggle on a language level. What do you do to support those students? Because I mean, at the end of the day, a language barrier can also be quite a challenge.
So there's two answers to that if I focus on the language. Firstly, we've got many universities that we work with, including the university has got very big academic literacy programs that help students that have English as a second, third or fourth language to develop the language skills they need to find their voice in English. But also in our tutorial programs at the University of the Free State, and I know there's other institutions too, we have translanguaging. So we allow students to code switch, explain things to each other, and then explain it to the whole tutorial session in English. So they practice going between different languages. And as far as showing them around on our campuses, that's what our orientation and first year experience programs are about.